John was working in his science lab, got blasted by gamma rays. Now he's Smash Trivia John, always smashing. He's friends with Ruffalo, crushing on Maslany, and also Sydney Sweeney. John's here saying, hello my gamma friends, welcome to the show, the Gamma Analysis Podcast.
Smash.
Hello, my Gamma friends. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies, TV shows. I also do random other geeky films. Hope you enjoy. Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening to please do sign for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. If you don't, Hulk will be angry. Now let's smash right into this episode. Today's episode is a review of Tammy and the T-Rex with Super Marcey and Bede, aka the terrible Aussie from various podcasts. How are you two doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me back once again.
Yes.
I'm doing well too, and I'm also happy to be back on the show as well, John. I mean, we had a fun time last time when we talked about Good Will Hunting, and now we're talking about a movie that's a complete opposite of
they're
one.
really very different films. Yeah. Oh, no. I'm very happy to have both of you back on because I enjoy talking to both of you. Now, for this, so I asked you guys to forced me to watch watch the weirdest film you could think of, and I'm gonna be honest. I expected much crazier than this. I was like, maybe I think my threshold for weirdness is just so much higher than normal people or something. I'm someone who has seen and enjoyed stuff like Call Girl of Cthulhu and stuff like Zombievers and Avers and like the and yoga hosers with the Brotzes.
Well, hold on. I did suggest Tammy and the T-Rex mainly because it's just one of those movies that, like, I don't even remember. Like, I don't think I'd really heard about it until Bede mentioned it, and then we watched it, and I just had no idea what the hell was going on.
Oh, terrible. But I'm not mad or anything. I'm just saying, like, I was expecting it's like much crazier than this film to be. I'm like, this is pretty normal, to be honest, to me, in comparison to the weird films I've seen.
Oh, definitely. Like, Tammy and the T-Rex is a film that's kind of in a league of its own in terms of just insane movies, particularly around this period in the 90s, because I mean, as weirdly wonderful as the movie is, even the backstory behind it is just as equally bizarre as well.
I've heard a little bit about that. I also did not hear about this film till like the past few years or something. It's I remember I went to this trivia night that was at a theater, and they and at the end of it they said that they were going to be showing showing Tammy the T-Rex. I was like, what the hell is that? And I've looked it up afterwards, but I hadn't seen it till now. And I liked it a lot. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Sorry, I'm like, Bede, do you want to talk?
Oh, I was waiting for you to say something, Marcy.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's it's hilarious because it has a plot that is really silly. And it's like, I think one of the like draws is that it's like what Paul Walker's first movie or one of his first movies.
Yeah, and also Denise Richards as well. It's like
Denise.
what like her first big lead role in a film.
Yeah, and it's a movie where Paul Walker's character gets put into a coma or something after being attacked by these wild animals, even though he has no scars on him, nothing. And then his brain gets implanted into an animatronic Tyrannosaurus Rex whose limbs apparently can shapeshift at any given time. And then it turns into a love story of Tammy and her T Rex with implied they had sex moment.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. And that's just only the iceberg of the weirdness when it comes to this movie, because I mean, we also got to remember that yes, it is a movie about the character of Tabby, whose boyfriend is dies, and then his brain puts in the body of a T-Rex. But we also got to remember there's other weird stuff around it, including like trying to find a live body for Paul Walker's character, which is a very bizarre scene. And also, this movie has a large amount of gore in
Oh
it
yeah.
as well.
I think the best way to describe this film is um if you made a Disney Channel film, but you put a sprinkle of sexuality and a lot of gore in it. Like, it really has the vibe of a Disney Channel movie.
It
I
kind of
don't know if you.
does.
I don't know if I don't think you have Disney Channel in Australia, but you've
We
probably
do.
seen some Disney
Yeah,
Channel.
no, we've always had that stuff. Yeah, because there's so much trivia on this movie. Because this originally was kind of like a Disney Channel movie. It didn't have the gore and stuff. And then I think it was in 2017 or something like that. I think they found the other cut, and for some reason it was called Tanny and the Teenage
Yeah.
T-Rex. And it had all the like gore and stuff, which obviously was previously taken out to be like more of a teenage family film. But in reality, it had this whole other cut that was very gory, and people got squashed and
Makes
heads
me.
squished and all sorts of stuff.
It reminds me of there are two other films where the original cuts I know are much more mature than what we ended up getting. We haven't ever actually gotten those cuts released unlike this, but Jim Carrey's The Mask and the first James Gunn Scooby Doo film are originally supposed to be much more mature.
Mm. Yeah, and I guess because we got to remember too, around this time in '94 when it was released, it came out after when Jurassic Park was released, and I would imagine like the director Stuart Raffle obviously wanted to make this R-rated horror sci-fi comedy with but then of course probably the financiers or the producers were like, oh, Jurassic Park made a huge amount of money, let's get rid of all the gore and as much as this of the sexuality as we possibly can, so we can target like the younger viewers, the teens or the preteens. Like what's
I
amazing, yeah, sorry,
Oh,
go.
sorry.
it's all right. I was just gonna say I think this. I think to be honest, I feel like this film could be better if they really leaned into that R rating instead of having it them cutting it down because then it would feel like like it actually has this very focused audience and not just trying to go for two different audiences that do not mix.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Like it's interesting. Like it's weird the tone of this movie, and I think
Hmm.
you're absolutely right. Like taking sort of the gore out of it, like it still has that. I don't want to say family friendly, but at least like guess the tone of it is definitely more, I guess, more acceptable for younger viewers. But even then, though, watching it with today's eyes, I'm like, I mean, it is a movie where you kind of watch it and think, like, who is this movie made for? Like, it, even if it is PG-13 cut, you just wonder yourself, like it's a bit too risque and sometimes a bit more mature for kids, but but a little more immature for adults. But I think when you have the original cut, which has all the gore scenes and more of the sexuality, you get the feeling like, okay, this film knows exactly what it is. It knows it's silly. It's basically built around this whole idea of using an animatronic T-Rex. And it's basically a movie for weirdo. Yes. And so in the end, this movie's audience is for weirdos like us.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Like the whole backstory of the director just only did this movie because he had access to a T-Rex animatronic for a couple of months. Like that was it. They just built a story around having this animatronic T-Rex.
That was one thing I was so surprised with this film was how good the T-Rex looked. Like I'm guessing it was, since you said he had access to it. I'm guessing that means it was made for another film, and then they allowed him to use it or something. I'm like, that really surprised me. Going into this film, I was thinking, I was kind of expecting it to be as low production value as something like Velociraptor, Velocipaster, or something. Like no, I was very surprised the way it actually was a decent looking film.
There are some shots that are very clearly like early 90s cheap like effects, but they add to the charm, honestly.
It's interesting to be how like they had this animatronic, and it could actually move, but they still chose for like any scene this far away to make it be very clearly green screened and stuff like that. I'm like, what was that about? Okay.
Well, I think like the legs didn't move because I think it's more like one of those T-Rexes you see at like fun parks and all that, where the whole body moves but the legs don't. But okay, I do laugh every time. I do laugh every time they show the legs because it's very obviously it's just like giant dinosaur looking boots that the actor is wearing.
That would make sense actually if the legs didn't move. But also, like, I love this movie because it has a scene where the T-Rex is using a payphone and his arms are somehow really long that he can use a phone. And it doesn't make any sense, but it's amazing.
It also, that scene made me wonder, is he not able to tell that he's not speaking English?
Doesn't he know he's a dinosaur at this point?
Like, what did he think was going to happen from that call?
I don't know.
There's so many moments in this movie that I just find it so absolutely hilarious. Like when when the doctor's assistant lady finds the dead body of one of their other co-workers, I guess, and she just starts it's rolling the body up. That's so goofy. I love it.
The characters in this are so goofy. The doctor and the assistant lady.
Oh yeah. I don't know if we ever got a name for her.
Way too horny. Oh my goodness.
Well, I know the doctor's name is Dr. Wackenstein, and his assistant / girlfriend is named Helga, but they were like way too
Helga.
They were like way too horny for this movie. And I couldn't I mean, I know the Blu-ray that I have of this movie also includes the PG-13 cut, so I'm just curious because I've only seen bits and pieces of the PG-13 cut, but I'm kind of curious to see how that version of the movie does with their scenes because they're just like way horny, way too much with each
They are
other throughout this
so
film.
horny.
Yeah. It's so wild. Like, they even and they're also not only horny, but they're necrophiliacs. They want to play with with Paul Walker's dick.
They watched Necromantic and didn't get over it.
God. Helga though. I kind of wonder if she was based on the Doctor from the Class of Nukem High sequels. Have you two ever seen those movies?
We've
I
seen the
haven't seen the
first one.
sequels, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sequels are much crazier than the first one, but yeah, it kind of feels like a very similar character as that she also has this heavy like Russian kind of accent. She has like her hair up and she's always wearing a lab coat but has her boobs out most of the time. Like it feels like like they are basing off that. I kind of wonder if trauma in general was a bit of an inspiration for this film.
Oh yeah, like I would.
Highly possible. Although, if you look at the director's previous film, the director's filmography before this, and Bede, you can enlighten us definitely.
Well, I mean, it's Stuart Raffle who directed this movie. He's best known for directing other movies such as The Ice Pirates, The Philadelphia Experiment, Mannequin 2, On the Move, and of course, probably his most well-known film, Mac and Me.
Oh man,
That tells you everything you need to know.
yeah.
Exactly. But the thing is, though, when you look at all those movies, like none of those movies are like gory or as dement. I mean, yes, they do have some really bizarre elements. I mean, Mannequin 2 On the Move, I mean, other than the fact that it has a mannequin coming to life, it literally has a character who is a wizard.
It's got the same doctor, doesn't it? The guy that plays the doctor.
Yeah, Terry Kaiser plays the wizard in that movie. And well, Ice Pirates, well, it's Ice Pirates. I mean, it's a sci-fi movie with pirates in it. But then, of course, you got Mac and Me, which is like probably the greatest McDonald's commercial ever made.
And I mean, that again was a movie that was going to have a very dark ending.
Yeah, well, I guess that's probably the closest you could even compare that. I mean, this film to Mac and Me is like it was going to have a demented ending, but they decided to cut that out because it was too dark. And it's almost like Stuart Raffle went into this movie. It's like, I'm going to make this even more demented and over the top. And even then, he still had to cut stuff out to get a PG-13 rating.
There's a lot of horny in this movie. Like at the party, when they're in the car, and then the dinosaur comes and like, eats them or squashes them.
I kind of like I kind of feel though like even though it would have been a weird as hell scene. I don't even know if I would have enjoyed it, but I kind of wish they had the balls to go all the way with the horniness. Just go absolutely wild. Because I don't know. I'm like, whenever you do a crazy concept like this for a film, I'm like, go for it. Don't half-ass it.
Yeah, we totally should have seen a very explicit sex scene with Tammy and the T-Rex. It's implied, but that's all we get. But then at the end, she's like doing webcam girl stuff before webcam girls were a thing to her boyfriend who's a brain.
Like they kind of imply it, but also at the same time, like I felt it's such a weirdly done scene when they imply that because she's like give us a minute as if we're not decent, but she clearly is decent. She's wearing her dress still. So I don't think anything actually did happen. I'm like, I feel like those scenes were put together from like two different cuts of the and it just doesn't quite mesh together. If that makes sense.
But somehow it still works.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
that braid at the end has a literal orgasm, literal sparks are flying everywhere.
Oh, man.
That's another great. But we have to mention the best friend character of Byron,
yeah.
who wears the best clothes.
I loved Byron.
Byron is like the MVP of this movie.
Yes.
I love all of his lines. Especially when he's driving the truck, because the cops are chasing them. I love like what he said as, "Oh, hold on to your boobs, girl. Oh, get rough." And when the cops tell him to pull over, he's like, and give them the dinosaur. He's like, "No, he's my friend. I'm keeping him." I love it.
Byron is adorable. We all need a BFF like Byron.
Exactly. And also, how could we... I just got to say it right now. I mean, say what you will about Denise Richards as an actor, she fully commits to this movie. You feel for her throughout this film when it comes to Michael as a T-Rex, and even her anguish at the end when Michael is shot down by the cops.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she fully 100% commits to this role.
Honestly, it's one of her best roles, genuinely.
I don't know if I've even ever seen any other film she's been in, to be honest. But yeah, I liked her a lot in this. I think it really, this film really reminds me a lot of Howard the Duck. In like it has those same issues of you not knowing what its audience is supposed to be. And I enjoy both films, even though most people don't love them. And they are both very much the MVP of the film is the female lead, like
Exactly.
Denise Richards in this and Leah Thompson in that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, both actually, Leah Thompson in Howard the Duck is actually a good comparison because even
it's perfect, actually.
Because even though they're both in a film that is completely utterly insane and their love interest is or in this case a robot dinosaur, or in Howard the Duck's case a humanoid duck, like, they fully commit to their performances and actually fully commit to the relationship with her, of their romance.
I bring that up of how good they are, and this is something every time I've talked about Howard the Duck, I like to bring up is how Leah Thompson and as well with this of Denise Richards they're so committed to it that they actually make it so I do feel like there's chemistry between these characters, which which I think is such a great achievement and to be able to do with something that is an animatronic. You're not you don't have an actual actor you're up against. You just have this robotic thing, and somehow they're able to create a chemistry.
Oh yeah, like you fully believe that her boyfriend is inhabited by this T-Rex, and there's a love between them. Like, you buy it, you buy the connection, and that's just one of the, I think, things that really makes, even though it's a very ridiculous film and who's it made for, it's one of the things that really makes it work.
Right.
And that's why I will say again, I think it's one of Denise Richards' like best performances because she does go all in it.
Mhm.
And also, Tabby as a character is also quite appealing as well.
Yeah.
She's a likable character.
Mhm.
Like Tammy and Byron are likable characters. Michael is a likable high school kid, even if he's a little bit clueless.
And I love the fact, when Michael's in the hospital the day after, where he gets attacked by a lion.
I know he's got no scars, no damage, and I think Paul Walker's just lying there smiling half the time.
Like, even before they even go to see him in the hospital, both Tabby and Byron basically have to wear the best clothes they have in their wardrobes to just go see
Yes.
Michael.
The wardrobe, the fashion in this film is great.
Oh yeah. It's hilarious to me how they were able how they the assistants to this doctor managed to be able to take his Michael's body back to the morgue, even though it's so obvious that somebody cut into it, and somehow they don't get the doctor doesn't get in trouble for this or anything.
No. I love how obvious it is. Like, they've cut open his head and removed his brain.
The mortician, when you see that body, is going to be like, why is there stitches in this head? Oh man!
I'm trying not to snort.
And then you also have like somehow, even though they are bumbling around with the body at the hospital, they're able to get it out of the hospital with nobody noticing.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think
the most obvious two people ever that stick out. Like,
well, to be fair though, like, I don't think anyone in this hospital really cared, because when Tammy and Byron walk in and see the nurse to find out where Michael is, a literal patient walks up to the desk with multiple shot wounds in his chest,
Yeah.
and the nurse is like, I'll get to you when I can, and the guy just slumps over, possibly dead.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's so insane. I love it. Oh man. I think. Well,
movie.
yeah. I think. What else is that I really want to bring up? The Tammy's ex-boyfriend. Man, he really is evil. I would honestly say he's even more evil than this doctor that put Michael's brain into it.
Right? Like, why is the ex-boyfriend like the biggest, and I mean biggest, a-hole ever? Like, who the hell are you, dude?
Marcey, the Tabby's ex-boyfriend, the bully, I believe it's let's see, what's Billy? Yes, Billy. He all the boys in every movie or book version of Stephen King's work just looked at this guy like, dude, you got to calm down on the bullying, all right? You need to
even Stephen King's worst bullies are like, yeah, that's too much for me.
I mean, he and his friends literally basically do a home invasion of Tabby's house, smash open the door with her parents there to get Michael, and it's like, that's I mean, that's grounds for arrest right there, and I'm assuming they know who Billy is because Tabby was going out with him, so obviously they must know who he is, and they don't even call the police about this?
Nope.
Well, the wife wanted to, but the husband was like, "Oh, I'm a man. I can take care of this."
Yeah, sure.
Clearly, that did not work out.
And then, like, that was not that was bad. But then the fact that they dropped this guy off to hoping that he'd be eaten by lions, like, Jesus.
And why is it so extreme that they leave him to get eaten by like all these wild cats?
Oh, and then there's also simply the fact that he very much thinks Tammy is his property. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, this this movie was like entitled toxic masculinity. That's Billy. Do not be like Billy.
Oh,
Exactly.
man. Oh,
And also, like, again, like, but that's the thing about this film. What I find really interesting is like it kind of subverts your expectations because you think with a character like Billy, you think, okay, Michael, which I find hilarious with the fact that as soon as Michael realizes he's a T-Rex, he basically becomes a serial killer and starts
Yes.
killing off members of the gang one by one. But
As
then
he should.
I mean, he should. But he actually kills them all off, including Billy at the halfway point. And you think, okay,
that was
this
surprising.
is going to be safe for maybe the third act or something like that.
Nope.
But it's like, oh, well, the villain of this piece is already dead. Where do we go from here? And of course, obviously, the Doctor takes over as the villain. But it's like, you know what? You're not as bad as like Billy was.
No, Billy was so bad.
My assumption when he killed off Billy was the rest of the film was just going to completely change tones and just be a romance film between Michael and Tammy.
Yes.
I was but that's obviously not what happened. But that's what I was expecting at that point. I was like, oh, this film will just probably be just basically be a slice of life romance comedy with a girl and a T-Rex.
Well, I mean, I remember as a kid seeing the video cover at the video store. And I think for the longest time, I just assumed, oh, it's a family film about a girl. I honestly thought until I actually
thought, like, just seeing the poster and stuff, or the picture, it's just thinking it's about a girl and her pet T-Rex, literally.
Yeah. And it wasn't until when the news of like them re-releasing the film, bringing out this gorier cut, it's when I realized, oh, so it's not an actual T-Rex, it's it's someone's brain and put inside of a robot dinosaur that comes to life. And I'm like, that is definitely not the movie I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking it was gonna be a real dinosaur, and she just falls in love with this real dinosaur, or also and like also based on the poster, I think that you expect it to be a pretty standard or B movie where a dinosaur attacks a city because there's a city in the background of this of the poster. Nope, there's no city in this film or him attacking any kind of city or anything.
Basically ends up being about trying to save Michael's brain.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, I know we mentioned the part where they're trying to find him like a replacement body, but it is so goofy and hilarious. You just have to bring it up again.
Oh yeah, it's so awesome. That scene is absolutely hilarious, and when they're checking these bodies, and they look down under one of the bodies, and then Tammy immediately is like, "No way!"
Yeah, the cemetery scene is also just
oh my god.
I love how they made sure that every single character in that scene would wind up in the grave at some point.
Nope.
And then you have like Michael's uncle who doing this emotional
the drunk
speech.
uncle.
The drunk uncle, and then in the background you see Michael hiding in bushes, and I'm like, how can anyone not see that giant robot T-Rex
I
in the
know.
background, and he's like bawling, and he's got bawling his eyes out, and it is just an amazing sequence.
Oh yeah. The other thing I love at the very beginning when we have the fight between in Michael and Billy at the school,
Oh,
and they're just twisting his balls, and Michael acts like he's in pain until they stop. And he's like, "Oh no, I was just wearing a cup."
yes.
And you think like from that experience, Billy would have learned to start wearing a cup. It's a cup up if he's gonna act like this. But no, he obviously doesn't, since he gets hit in the balls again later in the film.
He never will learn to wear a cup. That's why he was so angry and mean.
I mean, I can understand and be a little bit angry if 2 days in a row you had very painful things happen to your balls.
That might explain it for old Billy there.
Oh man.
Oh, this movie.
So anything else you guys want to talk about with this film?
Bede?
Well, I mean, it has a lot of like character actors like pop up through it who have been in other things. You got like George Buck Flower as one of the deputies in the film, and then Sean Whalen from The People Under the Stairs as one of Billy's friends. He's the one who gets Michael uses his feet to claw at his legs, and his guts spill out. But
Yes.
but what I love, and also John Franklin, aka Isaac from Children of the Corn, as one of the doctor's assistants.
Yeah.
And and also bizarrely, and this blew my mind when I watched it the first time, the pizza boy who comes around is Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite.
It's got a lot of random one, but also, I think it was the first, like, a debut film appearance from Poppy Montgomery as
Yeah.
Party One.
And it's funny, like she played Party Girl number one, but I know who that character is. But every time I watch the film, I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh, she looks vaguely familiar, but I don't know who. And then, of course, when I was looking up the casting list before, and it said Poppy Montgomery, and I'm like, oh, yes, Australian actress Poppy Montgomery.
I was going to say Australian actress Poppy Montgomery. So it's got a lot of random people in this movie, just randomly.
Yes.
I know this is not him because he would not have looked like this in the 90s. Well, when we have the scene of them showing the different bodies to Michael, I could not help but think one of those bodies looked exactly like Stephen Yoon. Like that face just looked exactly like him. I'm like, there's no way that's actually him because this was the 90s, and I don't think he's old enough that he would have looked like that still in the 90s.
Yes.
It's a film that just keeps on giving.
Exactly. Every time I watch this film, it's always such a blast because, like I say, it's a movie that knows exactly what it is, and it makes no apologies for it.
Honestly, this is a film that I would not mind getting a remake. I feel like there's some actors these days who could be absolutely hilarious in a story like this.
Yes.
Definitely. It would be it'd be interesting to see how you'd remake it. You'd have to go practical because you cannot do this with CG and expect it to stand out.
Yeah, they would have to like have practical doing an animatronic again, and just like with this.
You'd have to. Yeah, you'd have to. Because then it's like every other weird movie you might find on Tubi.
Exactly.
Yes. Is it still on Tubi or did they take it off?
I think they took it, at least in America, they took it off just a few days ago.
I don't know if it's
I'll have
off
a look.
in Australia. 'Cause I
Well, that's the
can't
thing. This, yeah. Well, I'm having a look right now, but I do know that it's always everywhere. Like I said, it's out on Blu-ray, so it's easy to find. And yes, it looks like it is off Tubi in Australia, but I would imagine it'll come back at some point. But it is on other streaming services as well, and I know
Yeah.
it
it
was on
might still be
Shudder.
on Plex and stuff.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's also on Shudder. At least I think it is at the time of this recording, and also I know it's just about to hit Screenbox in the US as well, so it's
Oh,
pretty easy to
so
find.
still, yeah.
Yeah, when I watched it, I watched it on Peacock,
Mm,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
which gets a
Nice.
lot of the same films that Tubi gets, at least on the free version. Yeah. I don't think it's really much else to talk about this film, so I'm about start winding this down. Any final words either of you would like to say?
Uh, yeah, my final word on Tammy and the T-Rex. If you haven't seen it, watch this movie with your friends and have fun. You can watch it by yourself too, because it's always very entertaining. Um, it's just pure joy. It's like you said, you expected it to be more insane, just knowing we've probably set the bar really high, but it's still an insane movie that you have no idea what's going on. But it's endearing. It wins you
Oh, yeah.
over. It's just great. And yeah, Byron MVP of the movie. He's so good.
When I was making my review on Letterboxd, I was like, the biggest thing that surprised me about this film is how wholesome it is. I did not think this would be a wholesome film.
For a damn horny, weird movie, it's kind of wholesome.
Oh man.
Exactly. And that's, I think, the key to what makes this film work as it does is, yes, it is totally and utterly insane from top to bottom, but there's a sincerity to it. And I think it's definitely due to, surprisingly, Denise Richards' performance, because, again, she brings so much of that to the relationship between her and this robot T-Rex that you totally buy into it. Like, and I have to give her a lot of credit for that, because I feel like if she wasn't as fully committed as she was to make this relationship as believable and as sincere as it is, maybe the film probably wouldn't work as well. But I think having that as the core of this film, that's what makes the film such a joy to watch, because yes, it knows exactly what it is, but it also knows to provide some heart to it as well.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Everyone, please check out both Super Marcy and Bede on the various podcasts from the Super Network. And as always, you guys are always welcome to come back on my podcast. As I love having you.
We will be.
Definitely.
You guys need to start thinking of an even weirder film to make me watch.
Bede, I think it's your turn
hard.
to pick the next one now.
Oh, I have ideas. I have ideas.
Man. Well, thank you everyone for listening. If you like this game analysis, please give a 5-star rating on review on Apple Podcasts, and a 5-star rating on Spotify. Your thoughts on the episodes, please let me know. And if you'd like to listen to more from me, please subscribe. Many more game analysis from me coming, so keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Master John, signing off.